Now at 11, the Ohio legislature is in the final few days of the 135th General Assembly. Any bills that don't get passed now will have to be rewritten from scratch next year. And one that passed today would have big consequences for domestic violence criminals. 10 TV's Carly Dion is live at the State House tonight to explain. Carly?
Yolanda, House Bill 111 passed unanimously in the Senate earlier today. It passed in the House unanimously this time last year. One of the bill's co-sponsors, Representative Jeff LaRae, calls it common sense legislation. It's a bill that would increase the sentence a person could serve if convicted of third-degree felony domestic violence, which is anyone who has previously been convicted of 2 or more domestic violence charges. It would also create the presumption of prison time for that offense.
The premise behind this whole thing is really to give those victims an opportunity to get out of their situation and move on with their lives.
It's legislation that groups like the Ohio Domestic Violence Network works to support.
Often, people who are leaving abusive relationships, it's a process. You need help, support, and assistance to come in, and just recognizing that often there are additional barriers that are created.
Barriers that can be broken down in part through the implementation of bills like House Bill 111, inspired by a real-life tragedy.
It was almost 5 years ago to this very week.
Co-sponsor Jeff LaRae says the idea for the bill came to him from one of his constituents.
She came to tell me a tragic story about somebody that she knew that ultimately became a victim of domestic violence and later died by her abuser.
LaRae says one of the problems with domestic violence cases is survivors often aren't sure when their abusers might be released from jail, but adding the presumption of jail time will make a difference.
To give those individuals that peace of mind knowing that they've got the opportunity to move to a different residence, to enroll their children into a different school, and use the resources that we've got here in the state of Ohio.
There have been 19 domestic violence-related homicides in Columbus so far this year, according to Columbus Police. Across the state, that number is at 114, up 2 more than the previous year, according to the Ohio Domestic Violence Network. It's data that shows more work needs to be done. Domestic violence across the state seems to be increasing. So what is your message to your constituents that this bill passed today?
Yeah, I think it's just, we all got to come together to help these victims out, move on, and provide them that safe space to get out of those situations.
The bill now moves on to the governor's desk to potentially be signed into law. Live at the State House, Carly Dion, 10 TV News.
Carly, thank you. And if you or someone you know is suffering from domestic violence, there is help out there. Just call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. That number's on your screen now, 1-800-799-7233. It's free, available 24 hours and 7 days a week, and is 100% confidential.